describe what the pressure is like being a dad?
Oh yes, man. Being a dad is 100% worries, and a lot of times because the dad are the disciplinary of the family, so you're the bad guy at times. But one thing that I had, working with older men, uh, my coworker told me when I first had my oldest kid, these hands here are for love and to hug. Don't ever whoop your kids with your hand. Hug them with your hand. Discipline them with a belt. And I tried to take that advice.
How would you like your children to remember you?
As a hero, I didn't let them down. That if they needed me, they knew where to go. I wasn't there to stop them from falling, but they did. I picked them up. You know,
Remember you.
that I was there constantly.
Someone that never gave up. A person that if can wear a suit going to work, or can go and grab a hammer and nails to go and work, to provide. Someone that he was a fighter, someone that has a word, that cares for people. That's how I would like to be remembered.
So yeah, what's the fondest memory of your father?
Yeah, your papa was a seaman, so he was coming home from a voyage to India, and when he came back to India, he had his presents, and he brought me and Ernest Jr. Nehru suits. Mine was gold and Ernest was white, and that's the fondest memory I have of him because we didn't expect that, and they were all tailor made. My mama sent him the sizes, and then he had a tailor make them over there.
Yeah, when I went through my divorce, I was sitting on my porch, and back then it was hurtful, but now it taught me to be a man. I sit on the porch and I was actually crying, and he said, "It hurt, huh, son?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're going to find somewhere else to cry and leave my porch." And, but that was he wasn't being. That was strong love, telling me, "Man, hey, now get up, move around. We ain't gonna do this." That was my fondest memory of my dad. We have a lot, but that's the one that sticks with me, and it would never leave. That's the one that I want to pass on to my children. That remember him that day, him telling me, "Be strong, get up off this porch, and go on with your life."
I wouldn't say it's technically a memory, but the relationship me and my father have. We always been well. We keep it honest with each other. We always tell the truth to each other, tell how each other feels. We have always been that way. So, funny story. Dealing with you, matter of fact. So, yeah, I'm gonna tell the story. So, I was at work. It was one of your birthday parties. Yeah, I remember I told you I couldn't make it because I ended up having to work. Like I didn't get off till like 9 o'clock that night. So he ends up calling me at work, pretty much going smooth off on me, telling me that you a man, you gotta keep your word, and when you decide you want to do something, you gotta be there for the occasion. And so you sitting there thinking like, hold up, wait. So I hang up, I'm yes sir, yes sir, sir, because you revert back to that child state. And so I hang up the phone. And then it dawns on me, hold up, wait, I'm married, I got my own house. Oh, he ain't just about to call and yell at me like that. So I call him back. He answers the phone. I say, hey man, look at it. And he hangs the phone up in my face. And the reason he said he hangs the phone up in his face is, he said, I know I was in the wrong. But what most parents do wrong is they want to sit there and listen to their child go off on them. I know I was in the wrong. So I'm not about to give my child that chance to go off on me. That ruins the relationship forever. So that was one of the funniest and fond moments I remember having with my old man.
There's so many. Me and my dad spent a lot of time. He's like my best friend. He was like an older brother. So I can't say I have a fondness because it's like a clip. It just rolls. Like seeing him playing spades when we'd be at a barbecue, slapping a card on his face in the middle of a game, getting ejected, talking trash to the refs and the fans, while sitting in the opposing bleachers by himself. Yeah, big nuts.
Yeah.
Anytime that he allowed me into his space of the things that he liked to do, I think those are my fondest memories. Even now, because my dad, he's a mechanic. So the one thing that I always know now, I didn't know then, but I know now is he ain't going to be here all the time. So bringing my car to him or bringing my truck to him for anything, I have to learn how to do all that stuff. So now we spend a lot more time as far as instead of him just working outside on something, I'll be out there with him asking him questions. What is this? What is that? And I think anything that allowed me to be in his space where he was doing something that he loved, I think those are some of the fondest memories I have. Even as a kid, just playing basketball in the driveway while he's working on a truck, and then just going over there watching him. We didn't talk a lot, but just him not telling me to go sit down or go back over there and play basketball was a good time.
You know, we go fishing a lot. My dad is a guy that he was very few words, but when he give advice, it's gonna be sound advice. And I used to love when we sit down and take a ride, or you take a ride and just talk.
What would you say is
Again, I was a sophomore in high school. Stayed after school for some reason. Called my parents to come get me, and I waited outside of the school for them to come. My dad showed up because, you know, the way our school is, you probably remember the cafeteria is there, and I was waiting right on the outside. My dad showed up in this, it was like a metallic blue, dark blue Mustang. Chrome rims, which was very popular at the time. Dual exhaust, it looked good. Didn't run worth anything, but it looked good. And when you're 16 years old, that's most important. And he got out of the car and he said, "Here, you want to drive?" I said, "Yeah." And I got in it. We riding home, driving. I'm driving home. My dad, and I asked my dad, "Well, whose car is this?" He said, "It's yours. I just bought it for you." And even at that time, as happy as I was, I didn't realize the significance it would have on my memories with my dad. You know.
Is there anything that you wanted to tell your father that you either couldn't at the time or just haven't told him yet?
I think I keep an open communication with him. Everything I said, tell him. So, but I will never get tired to tell him thank you for all his teaching. Thank you for always having my back. Thank you for supporting me. I always say that to him, but still, you know, I would like to emphasize it.
Just to tell him I love him, because he wasn't a man that was easy to tell you love. You know, he was a strong man that we just didn't say that to each other. You know, and I would like to, if I can turn back the hands of time, that's the one thing I would say to him.
Do you remember?
First of all, you ain't no man. I ain't gonna do that.
I ain't gonna make you cry.
Nah, but for a fact though, the one thing I always hope I did in this life was make you proud. Because it's a lot of stuff that goes around and stuff that people can get into, but the one thing that always kept me from doing anything was the way my father looks at me. And there's always been big motivation for me. Even if I fall or don't feel like getting up, I always remember, shoot, your daddy getting up, why you can't get up? Same bloodline. And I love you for that. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't have that. So I say every day, I'm blessed to have a father that will stick up for me and loves me no matter what I do. And hopefully, like I said at the beginning, I just hope I always made you proud.
being truthful in this point, at this point, I hated him for a little while because I felt that he could do more to be with us as like his as his children. He would be with my mom all the time, but as his children, I felt at the time you could do more to be with us. I play a lot of games. You could come to one, two maybe, but to come to none, I hated him for a long time. But I really feel like now, like I said earlier, understanding fatherhood and what it took at that point, there's a lot of healing that happened with me personally to where I can get away from that. I have not discussed this with him yet. That's probably something I need to discuss with him so he can know. I'm fine at this point, but I think the end, the ultimate healing is letting him know, and us having that discussion. I think that's a part of our rehabilitation in our relationship.
You missed it. You missed it. And then the thing is, you got the chance to be a part of this. You got the chance to do it again, and you still messing it up. You still messing it up. I forgive you for all the things that you did to me. I grew up, I'm good. Nothing. I didn't miss anything. Like, I got a man who showed me how to be a man. He wasn't even my biological father. He showed me how to shave. He taught me how to do everything that a man, he taught me how to look a man in the eyes when I'm talking to him, shake a man's hand firmly. You know, he taught me about aura and presence when you walk in a room. He told me you ain't gotta be the loudest one in the room, but when you talk, let them know you're there. He taught me everything that I needed to know, so I didn't miss nothing. But to my biological father, like you missed it. You missed it, and you're missing it.
I would tell him that I will always have forgiven him. I'm a child. You know, we don't have that impulse to not forgive. And I believe I told him that I loved him before. I definitely told him I loved him, but I didn't tell him I love him in a way that I think would have healed him if I were to like say specifically the ways in which I love him and why I love him. I think that could have done some more healing. I did tell him that I love him on his dying bed when he called me finally after years. But I would tell him that I love him.
Do you remember the last conversation you had with your dad?
Man, the last conversation, yeah, it was tough. It's like a movie. Like, if you ever seen Game of Thrones, it was like really quiet. It was like I woke up and he was yelling from downstairs because I was still staying with him. I was taking care of him because he was sick. And he was about to leave. And really, like, I got up slow. I was coming out to say bye. But as soon as I got to where I would see him down underneath, in the stairs, the door closed and I walked away, and it was just really quiet. And that was the last time I seen him in person. And then there was a lot of texting that day. But yeah, it was very. I think back on it, it was very hard because it was I didn't really get to say, goodbye. So.
Mind you, I don't talk to him often, so when I did talk to him, I was asking, what's up with our relationship? Mind you, I'm a 30-year-old man, so it's what's up with our bond, and I was asking him, why we don't talk as much, we need to change it up a little, try to connect a little bit more, and I just felt like the conversation was just dry still, so I kind of let it go. For the simple fact, I love my kids, to death. Nothing I wouldn't do for them in the world, nothing I won't do to see them smile. I know for a fact I'm gonna love them till they're old and gray. So I don't understand how my dad don't love me. You know what I'm saying? Like I got 4 siblings. You know, so it's like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't loved properly, but it's like I wasn't loved properly either. So it's like I don't know.
My twin brother and I was standing at the foot of his bed, and we rarely seen my dad cry, and we seen the tears come down his eyes, and it still hurts today to think about that because my dad was such a strong man. So I think about that often.
My last conversation with my dad was when he was actually in the home. When I told him, "You're tired, rest. I got the family."
This past weekend, and we talk about life.
Could you be more specific, or do you want to be more specific? If you don't want to,
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We were going over at what point in life I am at this moment, and how his advice 20 years ago, if I would have followed them, I would be in a way different position. So in this case, career-wise, I remember I was here in Houston. I was going back to Mexico to finish my career as an engineer, and he told me, "Don't do it." So for me, it was a shock, an advice from my dad telling me not to complete my engineering career when he's an engineer, and what all the time in life you want to be someone by going to school, but you want to be someone by working for someone. So he saw that education is a good way for networking. That's what I see now, but it's not a good way for you to be successful. It's just that a way that we've been brainwashed all this time, and we hear that question all the time. Who do you want to work for? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be when you're older? And what that is telling me now is that who do you want to be your master? Who do you want to sacrifice your time, your effort, your sweat, your stress for, instead of doing it for myself?
How did you come to this place of forgiveness? Because I think it's important for the people that will see this to hear, because a lot of people, probably including myself, Kendrick Lamar just had a song, got his new album where he's talking about daddy issues, right? So a lot of people hold on to things that their parents did to them. So I think it's important to hear somebody kind of speak on how they got to a place of healing and forgiveness.
I remember the moment when he called me when he was passing, and that's the only reason why he called me, because he knew he didn't have any more time to live. And I realized that he has daddy issues, that he had daddy issues, right? His dad wasn't in his life. And so I realized then I was dealing with a very different man. I wasn't dealing with my father and the role of like, he produced me. I was dealing with a man, right, who had his own set of issues with his father and grew up gangbanging and grew up, he was a 2-striker in California. So that means, one more strike, he'd have been in jail forever. Right. And so like he had a hard life. And so I had to be compassionate towards the man that he was. Right. And then I repositioned him from saying, okay, this is your experience. You didn't have a dad. You grew up rough. You had to figure it out. And then you lucked up. Right. You moved to Vegas and you created a new family. Wham. I have to just take you as the man that you are. And then I can forgive you once I realize, oh crap, like you didn't have it either. And I have a choice. If I do not forgive this man, I will hold that unforgiveness in my spirit and my body and my soul. And all it does is it gives me something to point back to, like, oh, I didn't have a dad, so X, Y, Z. And so for me, I learned to like have compassion on the man that he was and forgive the man that he was. Now I was still fucked up, right? Like, and I dream about having a father, and like, when I was buying my first house, like, whatever, all this stuff that you just want to call a dad about, that, if my car breaks down, like, I just don't have an older man that I can call for like man stuff. And so that does suck. But I don't harbor forgiveness. I just know that I enjoy going to the park and watching dads be dads, and like I relish in some child somewhere. A lot of children in a lot of places are having really great experiences with their father, and so I love to watch it, and I give that energy back out to the earth and to the world, instead of like harboring unforgiveness from my father, which I'm grateful to be here. I know that dealing with him as the man he is, forgiving the man that he is, and so I can put him back, reposition him as like, okay, you are my father, but you are still a man. And then looking forward to my own fatherhood if I'm able to experience it, but really just admiring the dads that are there in my own way.